then it's, well, I was at this con and Vic assaulted a minor. Well, produce some proof of that. Oh, well, I don't have it anymore. Okay. That's your first clue that person is lying. Okay. Assault of a minor is not, think about how revolted you are by assault of a minor, and then try and put yourself in the headspace of someone who would not only not cover that up, or would not report it, but would cover it up and then lose the evidence. Like, think of who that person is. Are we trusting this person? Yeah. It's insane. It's insane.
Some serious allegations have been made against me just last week by the I Stand With Vic movement, the most serious of which is that I was allegedly involved in an incestual and inappropriate relationship with a minor, and I believe a serious allegation should be addressed in a serious way. I don't normally do videos, so I apologize for the quality of this one in advance. Before I can go into the most serious of these allegations, I'm going to have to go over some of the smaller ones first, but I have added timestamps in the description for everything in case you wanted to skip the small stuff. The primary actor spreading these rumors is an individual going by the name Spectre06. This individual has had issues with me for a while for a variety of reasons, but the most relevant are my videos on I Stand With Vic and my unanswered challenge to Nick Rekieta for a debate. I won't go in depth regarding this guy and his connections or his apparent motivations right this instant. There are 3 relevant videos made by the accuser. The allegation itself shows up in the first of these, and the supposed evidence is shown in the second and expanded upon the third. I am covering all 3 for context, and to show what the high brass of I Stand With Vic have decided is a strong enough standard of evidence in order to push a claim that can ruin someone's real-life reputation. The first video I will cover has 2 versions of it, as it was taken down and re-uploaded. I will go over the content that is the same in both versions first. I will allow Spectre's own words to be heard by playing the clips and then commenting on them and showing evidence. Without further ado, let's start at the beginning.
This is what I came back to. Your account has been locked. We have determined that this account violated the Twitter rules, specifically for violating our rules against abuse and harassment. You may not engage in the targeted harassment of someone or incite other people to do so. This includes wishing or hoping that someone experiences physical harm. Now, I know exactly who went on this mass flagging campaign. You can see it as the first name in pretty much every one of these tweets. And I'm going to do my best to give you context for what these posts are, because unfortunately, JMK has made it very clear that he will mass flag your account in standard and stereotypical leftist fashion because you hurt his feelings. He did this to me on Discord. He did this to me now here.
Spectre complains about his Twitter being taken down, shows a bunch of tweets of him engaging in what Twitter considers targeted harassment, then further alleges, without showing anything, that his Discord account was also taken down. He pins the blame on me for both of these things occurring with 0 evidence. I didn't mass report Twitter, nor to report his Discord, and having a bunch of tweets flagged with my handle in it doesn't prove the accusation either, as Spectre has made a lot of enemies in the past, as well as the possibility of third-party trolls or some algorithm I'm unaware of. Regardless, the standard for evidence should be a little higher, but this is the first of many examples of this. It seems that Spectre, and some of the higher brass in I Stand With Vic, only have such a standard when Vic is concerned, in many cases to a ridiculous degree, but not when it comes to their enemies. But let's forget the standard of burden of proof being required by the accuser, not the accused. You might be a free speech absolutist and believe that freedom of speech means you can post whatever you want in complete disregard to how platforms operate. Twitter disagrees with you. Twitter investigated these reports and found he broke Twitter's terms of service. What this means is this was not even a false flag, as Twitter agreed with the reports. Which, by the way, didn't result in his Twitter being banned. He was temporarily restricted, as his own screen shows. A 2-week suspension, one that, at the time of this video, has already been served. Now, in many cases, I find these rule sets to be overly restrictive and unfair, but that's immaterial. If you don't like Twitter's terms, don't use Twitter.
Next one. I'm actually more conservative than liberal. I'm simply not capable of acting like a subhuman like you. Now, this was directly in response to JMK calling Kek, and I'm going to use his language here, and I will bring it up. In fact, let me really quickly, let me bring this up. He calls Kek a faggot. I am going to bring it up. Here it is. Kek joins his server. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Visorium. Hey, Kek. It says on Twitter you're a faggot. This true? Kek. I do not think it says literally that, but some people interpret it that way. Visorium. Are you a homosexual? Or do you just present yourself as one? Remember, Visorium is John Michael Kelly's Discord account. Kek, I identify myself as pansexual, if that is your question. Visorium, laughing my ass off, what a freak. If you ever quit being a faggot, I might allow you back in. In the meantime, get help, and then he kicks Kek from the server.
If you haven't already picked up by these two screenshots edited together, Spectre is leaving out a lot of context here. This individual, Kek, is an admin for Rekieta's Discord server. A server you have to pay to get in. It is very clear by that alone his attitude towards my coverage on Nick is probably not a positive one. And to be perfectly frank, this is my personal server. I can kick whoever I want, for whatever reason I want. Users know this as it is in the rules of the server. As for my positions that some, particularly left-wing individuals, might find distasteful, I have always worn them on my sleeve, and you can judge me for that. I'm a conservative and a Christian, and will not apologize for it. In my opinion, if you want to be against all this SJW stuff, you can't be supporting all of these made-up sexualities. I'm against homosexuality, polyamory, and all these other alternative lifestyle choices. I don't like degenerates. And by the way, one other thing he didn't show, Kek is in the server, right now, at the time of making this video, and has been for a while.
JMK has been is being investigated apparently by an alphabet soup, federal bureaucracy, and specifically because of previous posts he had made. It was previous posts he had made specifically about attacking members of the left, the media, and Antifa, from what I understand. I'm not going to say who it is. It's not the FBI, excuse me. It's not the FBI, but he is being investigated.
There are two interesting things in this bit. The first is that Spectre is implying him under investigation by some government agency. An agency which is specifically not the FBI, supposedly for my post regarding the left, Antifa, and the media. Of course, no proof is presented. Keep this in mind for later on. Alright, so now we have to take a little pause. Spectre re-uploaded this particular video because it was taken down. He also uploaded to BitChute in order to preserve it. However, the YouTube version is different. The following are notable segments that are in the new video.
I have to actually pay attention and do this video because the privacy complaint that John Michael Kelly filed has been upheld. And of course, in classic YouTube fashion, they don't tell you what actually triggered the report. They don't tell you what triggers them removing the video. Because, and I'm just going to show it later, but the email says that the alleged privacy issue is at 000. So the video hasn't even started. So what I'm going to do is two things. I'm going to use the same thumbnail that I used previously for the previous video on this. But I am going to edit out the little picture of himself that he put out. And I'm going to also not link in the description of the Kiwi Farms thread.
Spectre claims I took down his video, which I did. I filed a privacy complaint because he used my face in his thumbnail. He read YouTube's description of the matter, and he instantly knew it was either the thumbnail or the straight-up docs that he linked. I did not report his video for its content, although it does violate YouTube's terms of service. I reported it because he is using my face, which I never personally put out, despite his own false claim that I did, in a video where my face has no bearing on the content. All he had to do was remove the face from the thumbnail of the video. I am not a public figure, which should be obvious to the I Stand With Vic higher brass, as for a while they tried to claim Vic, whose income is mostly dependent on his public image, was not a public figure. Spectre is not entitled to use my face on his video, and I have a right to disallow use of it, particularly in a slanderous video. On that note, I'll be filing a second privacy complaint on the second video. Partially obscuring my face is still using it. At present, I am giving you the opportunity to fix it yourself.
If you would like to see some of the stuff that John has been up to over the past couple of years, from Gamergate to Gamergate Revolt to getting involved with the skeptic community and trying to go after Sargon, and now he's getting involved with Kick Vic because it's another way to try to draw attention to himself, I highly recommend you head on over to Kiwi Farms and go to the Weeb Wars sub-forum. And Sean there, well, he has an entire thread dedicated to him now.
I won't really go over Kiwi Farms and the number of verifiable inaccuracies in it all that much in this video. However, I will point out this recommendation seems to only exist so people can be aware of my docs and go to a forum that takes his claims as truth, regardless of evidence.
And it hasn't been updated with a couple of other things, a little bit of evidence that we provided. such as the fact that it definitely looks like John might have a sexual attraction to much younger girls. And there's also the possibility of a little bit of incest involved there, but be that as it may.
Here, Spectre makes his first allegation of incest/pedophilia, an allegation he points out is not verified in the Kiwi Farms thread, making his direction of people there even more suspect. He does say that he and some unidentified party or parties have cold hard evidence of this, however he can't show you any here. So right off the bat, he has made an unproven claim and has no evidence of it in this video. To I Stand With Vic, this attitude is supposedly unacceptable in cases that involve Vic Mignogna, but not his enemies. Rather than waiting until he has the alleged proof, he shoots out the claim.
It also doesn't talk about the death threats he sent to Zoe Quinn during Gamergate, but these are things that are documented. I'm not going to go into it now because this isn't about John's history. I'm gonna save that for another video because we're gonna go in depth. We're gonna go in depth into John later on. Don't worry, Johnny.
This is another sensational claim that he admits is not shown in the thread he wants everyone to see, but does insist all these alleged death threats against Zoe Quinn, of all people, are well documented, and leaves it up to you, the viewer, to find it, or for you to do what YouTubers like him want you to do. Take his word at face value because, hey, he presented other evidence, this must be true too. The standard for evidence and concepts of innocent until proven guilty were, to my understanding, supposed to be higher in the I Stand With Vic movement. Didn't they complain about Funimation making statements without providing proof?
Over the past year, I've put out information and I've done my best to validate and accurately provide everything I can in order to substantiate any claim I make because I don't want it to be a wild accusation, a rumor. I don't like starting them. That being said, this one is a bit different because I've been able to confirm some things, but I haven't been able to confirm others.
Fair play. Let's see what standards Spectre has for publishing accusations of sexual assault. Also, since Spectre wants to be known as the guy who does objective journalism, I'll be skipping over most of his armchair psychology and instead focus on his research. However, keep in mind, he told you point blank here, he was able to confirm some things, but not others. Let's see, in his own view, what he confirmed and what he did not.
But I started to dig a little deeper because there were some things that I figured I should look into. And I ended up contacting the FBI about this. Now, the FBI says that they can neither confirm nor deny that the forums this post allegedly comes from actually existed and that they took it down. I would have to submit a Freedom of Information Act request. I don't know why. It's either yes or no to get any information that I want. That can take 6 months to a year. That being said, I have been able to confirm independently that these forums did exist, and roughly around 2014, they were party banned. That's the best I can come up with. There's no Wayback Machine, there's no archive, nothing. I've put the text in this into Google, and it just shoots back nothing. It doesn't exist. So, I'm willing to believe that this did exist.
So he has a post he'll show later in the video that is his basis for the pedophilia allegation, and everything he has said thus far leads to zero confirmation the website is from existed to begin with. He says he put it into Google, high-end digging right there, and it shoots back nothing. No archives, no Wayback, nada. Zip. However, he was independently able to confirm it exists, which is weird since he just said there is no evidence. He then doubles back and was the weirdest standard for evidence I have seen yet, and says he's willing to believe it exists, for whatever that is worth. Maybe his Pentagon sources confirmed it. Regardless, something is either confirmed to be real with substantial, credible evidence, like archives or waybacks, both things he said don't exist, or other means that can be shown and leave no room for doubt. I guess this falls under the things we're not able to confirm. Carrying on.
Was it John Michael Kelly? I think it was, because the name you're about to see is very specific to him, and it wasn't known to the larger public even in 2016 when he was fully doxxed. This name was not known to belong to him. However, once Kiwi Farms got involved and fully doxxed him, this name, well, I had proof that this belongs to John Michael Kelly.
Okay, so Spectre talks about how a name belongs to me. Keep this in mind, because this is where his standard for evidence becomes dependent on what Vic's lawyer would term a rational inference. The name is mine, period. Nothing more to see here. It's a crazy specific string. as another big-brained individual would later on say. Seems those standards for confirmation are going fast.
And so I'm going to reveal the first screenshot that I received from 3 separate people.
Remember, 3 separate people sent him this. This will be relevant later on.
As you can see, the name UJ DAEDALUS, it was posted June 10th, 2011. And there was only one post attributed to this account. The text reads, I don't want to go into too much detail right now, but a few years ago, I ended up doing something I am ashamed of with my younger sister. I don't know if she remembers it, and I'm afraid that she'll tell my parents. It was a moment of weakness, and we were both young. Both of us were under 16, and she was younger than me by a bit. I was curious. I want to seek help because I've been feeling something else over the past few weeks, thinking about her, and I'm scared of what this could mean. Mods know, this appears to be someone fairly young and maybe interested in younger girls. Please be welcoming, as we are always trying to help people not assault children. We look but don't touch, and since he's young and acted out, it was likely impulsive. Smiley.
Here is Spectre's source, the piece of evidence that retroactively justifies his life-destroying claims. This is it, a screenshot. Pause and take a moment to read this piece of evidence. Take a moment to soak in what I Stand With Vic considers a high standard of evidence. This is what he somehow independently confirmed. A cropped screenshot of a site he can't prove existed.
If this is the case, the one sister we know about, would have been under 10. That's the only sister we've been able to confirm is younger than him. I want you to think about that for a second. He touched a sister that was under the age of 10. How disgusting is that? How disgusting is that? But he wants to lecture you about degeneracy, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to do his little streams talking about degeneracy. When this is John Michael Kelly, not just a homophobe, not just a bigot, but an incestuous pedophile.
Let's assume the post is true. According to Spectre, I made this post presumably because I was feeling especially guilty that day. I create an account with the username nobody in the 7.7 billion people on the planet could have possibly thought of because of its uniqueness, which is inconsistent with the way I used the username at the time, might I add. Notice the capitalization and the distinct and clear intent to separate the UJ from the common DAEDALUS term. According to him, I reached out to other people looking for insight or validation, or whatever twisted logic they want to use. I make a post that has 2 pedophile symbols attached to it, on a site called We Look But Don't Touch, that seems to be pushing the virtuous pedophiles progressive nonsense. This is comically absurd, and the logic surrounding it makes no sense. I supposedly make the single post we have studied, looking to interact with other users as is clear by the way the post is written. Then, I never post on the site again, ever. Then the mod doesn't respond, instead puts in an annotation, one that includes a call to action. Other people probably would have responded since the post has been interacted with in such a way by a mod, but we don't see that because all that is shown is a single post. On top of that, I supposedly found this website that's probably buried and very hard to find at 21, long before there's any evidence to suggest that I knew anything about digging. Then what is being confessed here is extremely vague, and there's also no way to confirm that what's supposedly written is actually true. One might be asking, why would someone write that if it weren't true? Gee, why would someone lie on the internet? The evidence supporting these allegations is weak at best. He also makes comments regarding the amount of sisters I may have, but conveniently leaves out the word dox, which is how he would know this. We also hear his personal disdain seethe through his words. He tries to be virtuous and morally condemn me with a post that makes no sense and proves nothing. Why would he do this? Probably in order to distract the audience from thinking too hard on how, even making all the assumptions Spectre wants you to make, this narrative makes little to no sense. But none of this is relevant, because how do we even know this post is even real? He has a screen cap, but no archive. And the excuse that has conveniently been given is the site has been under investigation. For what? 4 years? 5 years? Apparently he also contacted the FBI for more intel, which for a guy supposedly against spreading unsubstantiated rumors, doesn't wait for any actual confirmation from them, and also according to him, if it's under investigation, they can't give him anything. And the cool part about this is Spectre can use this to his advantage no matter what the FBI says. The website could exist, but not be under investigation. The website could be under investigation, but the account isn't real. The website can be real, under investigation, the account could exist, but the post isn't real. And all of these things could exist, but none of this actually confirms I made that post, which Spectre's third video is supposed to substantiate.
I received the screenshot from an individual who has since been banned from Twitter in August of 2019.
At this point, according to Spectre, an internet super sleuth gave it to him. Right off the bat, he's changed his story from 3 to 1 person. Funny that. Further, he can tell us who the account is, when he got the screenshot, and he's doing this while presenting himself as an objective journalist, but can't disclose who his sources are. It'll become apparent that Spectre's sources have a quaint habit of disappearing.
The individual said to me that they knew the forum he had posted on was a pedophile forum taken down in 2014 or 2015, as he put it, almost overnight, called WeLookButDon'tTouch.net. They had taken screenshots of hundreds, if not thousands of individuals who had posted about having touched a child or something like that and sent it to the FBI.
So as soon as the individual found the forums, it ups and disappears? Also, if there's more screenshots from that website, which would make the claims being presented here at least seem more credible, why did the supposed sleuth only share this one?
This person became aware of John Michael Kelly during Gamergate, and he knew of the UJ DAEDALUS handle that he had been using publicly, though at the time it was Dr. DAEDALUS. He claims to have posted the screenshots when JMK was initially doxxed, but they went unheeded.
Is his source Seattle for Truth? He says I used the handle Dr. DAEDALUS at the time, or at least this is the claim of his trusty source, who became aware of me during Gamergate. Nobody listened to him then, apparently, maybe because of the bad evidence and obvious Dr. DAEDALUS mistake, which we will get to soon.
In any case, I sat on them because, quite frankly, I couldn't validate anything. If the site was down, I would be unable to see anything, and what's more, there was nothing on Wayback Machine or any other archival tool, which led me to believe it hadn't existed and it was shoop.
As I had discussed previously, Spectre did do some digging to see if he could validate anything, but failed to find any archives, and it wasn't until very recently he acquired the necessary knowledge to go forward with the pedo allegation. What changed his mind?
As you can see here in the screenshot provided to me, another reason was the font. It simply looked too large. However, the background seemed familiar, and so I went to MTG Salvation, a Magic the Gathering forums owned by Curse that I haven't been to in about a decade. The font was eerily similar, and the background is the same way. I decided it could have some value, but still, I didn't push it too much. The names on the left, however, are in a different font, which I will chalk up to either a code change in the past few years or something else. Speaking personally, I know that the name font and links were in a smaller font up until the time I was banned, but the body text hasn't changed between then and now.
So Spectre's exceptional detective skills cause him to disregard the screenshot, sent by 1 or 3 people seemingly depend on what version of events Spectre wants to tell, because of the font, but because he later saw an old Magic the Gathering forum using similar font and similar backgrounds, it means it could have been real, therefore it is real. This is, at best, a ridiculous standard for accepting evidence. Why does he not consider that maybe the source used the website he found to create this screenshot? Why are there no other possibilities discussed? Because Spectre knows what he wants to believe, or maybe because his source at the Pentagon gave him a little heads up.
In any case, I never made it public because I could never link the UJ DAEDALUS name to John. In December, Kiwi Farms put out a thread linking John to this name. For posterity's sake, I'm putting up the title of the thread but not linking to it or showing anything in it just to show that this name, it's in the title.
Spectre could have just as easily looked at my YouTube About page to discover what my old user handle was, or bother to read the docs he has been sharing around. But hey, this is the guy who wants to avoid spreading unsubstantiated rumors. This is the guy whose independent research you are supposed to trust.
In the thread, there is a SoundCloud that I will now be playing a portion of between Seattle for Truth, a former writer for the Ralph Retort who was doing 20 years in prison for stabbing his father to death because of some cockamamie Pizzagate claim, and John, in which Seattle for Truth calls him Dr. DAEDALUS. And for the record, before John claims that Kiwi Farms is lying, he was previously cited as a source by Null for the thread on Allison Rapp.
What does Null, having cited me years ago, have anything to do with any of this? Number 1, Kiwi Farms had to cite me. They didn't have a choice because I started the ball rolling on the Allison Rapp scandal. Number 2, Null didn't make that thread, and Kiwi Farms isn't an amorphous blob that you can point to as a single entity. It's a false connection that he's doing to make it seem like everything posted to Kiwi Farms is true. Now, let's listen to the soundbite and hear Spectre's take on it.
First off, my name isn't Kelly Rose. Secondly, I was never involved in Occupy, ever. Thirdly, I have never, to the best of my recollection, used the name, user handle, Dr. DAEDALUS. If I have, I may have used it as some kind of throwaway account for someplace somewhere out there. Can't really remember. Not sure where you're going with that one.
In this, you can hear John say that he never used that moniker. However, archives of his Twitter show that he did in fact use it for a time.
Pause. Let's put that tweet on screen as an archive of it exists. A number of you with decent enough memories can probably already see the problem. Spectre, very knowingly so, does not establish when this recording was taking place. In this recording session, I claim I never used the handle Dr. DAEDALUS. Now, how does Dr. DAEDALUS relate to UJ DAEDALUS? It doesn't. In fact, it has nothing to do with the video. He's using this as a character attack, so later he can say I lied about this, therefore any claim I make about what DAEDALUS-related usernames I used is also clearly a lie. The problem with this claim is that the name was used after the recording, as you can tell by this user linking to the SoundCloud where it was leaked. I later at various points changed my name to Dr. DAEDALUS on Twitter to make fun of Seattle for Truth, a loon who, by Spectre's own admission, murdered his own dad over a Pizzagate scandal. This is Spectre, at his best, all spaghetti.
What's more, his Steam account used UJ DAEDALUS for a while. We know it's a Steam account because the current name, as shown here, has the same ID as the UJ DAEDALUS screenshot. It's not in debate right now, so if he attempts to say that he never had the name in any way, well, we can let Maury here tell us, what did the lie detector determine?
Lie detector test determined that was a lie.
In any case, we can establish this much. He has used that moniker since at least 2009, when the Steam account was created. Further, no one else uses it. His YouTube user URL is the same as you can see here, and I admit I missed this.
This is more of the same as previous. I never denied using the name UJ DAEDALUS before. It's still on my YouTube URL. But having a username that matches a screenshot another user has that we can't confirm exists, from a post we can't confirm exists, from a website we can't confirm exists, doesn't prove anything. The most charitable interpretation that can be given is this is extremely flimsy evidence to justify a deeply seated desire for something to be true, which is just lying to yourself.
The problem we're all going to come back to, though, is the forums. As I said previously, I have a FOIA request in to find out if it was shut down and for anything related to this account. As has been explained to me, the FBI will not comment on open investigations, which, if it's true that this was taken down by the feds, that would explain why they are unwilling to provide any information and may, in fact, make a FOIA completely useless. They're not going to provide it in case that it damages their investigation that appears to have been going on for several years. In any case, a FOIA request can take months, even under the best circumstances, and as such, it'll be some time before I can show that.
Here, Spectre begs the question by presuming the forums do exist, and also presuming there is an investigation into said website. Of course, the FBI is not going to comment on an open investigation, but there are any number of reasons why the FBI won't comment on rumors found on the internet. Also, if and when Spectre ever does get a response to his FOIA request, whether it confirms or discredits anything at all, we'd have to rely on him to be upfront about that. And a question that comes to mind is this: why didn't he wait until this alleged response came? He is basing so much of his logic on the response, why jump the gun? In a nutshell, Spectre's FBI contacts are about as reliable as his contacts with the Pentagon.
He's been begging to come on. Spectre, you have 30 seconds, sir, to give your take, and don't say I never did anything for you. Spectre, go ahead.
All right. So, you're claiming GS13SC status, correct, Zoom? I'm sorry, you're really low.
He said, I believe, yes.
Okay, cool. So you're claiming to be the pay grade equivalent in the civilian government of a light colonel or full commander. You understand that as an actual government employee, which I am as an O3E, as a former enlisted captain in the Marine Corps, and my ass is going down to the Pentagon next fucking week for at least a day, and I'm sitting down with Secretary Mattis and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dunford, among others, I bring this up to them because we have had such a fucking issue that I've become a mandated fucking reporter that I have to report this entire thing. And if you don't think that they're not going to fucking subpoena shit, they will hand this shit off to the FBI. They will ship this off to the intel battalions in Okinawa and fucking at Fort Washuka, and they will fucking drag your shit up because they're not going to tolerate this. So if you are lying about this, if you are an actual pedophile, stand the fuck by, because they are going to find out, and they are not going to fucking take this. They are not going to take this well.
Okay.
In case it wasn't obvious, over a year and a half later after the incident you just heard, there is still no word on any Pentagon investigation to Zoom, and he's still around. Now, some of you at this point may find the title of this video unfair. Spectre isn't all of I Stand With Vic, after all, and hardly represents the entire community. However, this would be glossing over all the other top brass of the movement who have given their hot takes on the video.
I'm just harmlessly perusing the internet, Twitter, innocently, and I come across a tweet from Jim. Well, not Jim. Jim's friend, Mr. Anti-Bully. People brought up Rekieta and someone he was arguing with getting outed for weird stuff. No, Jim language. Anyone have links to what that was about? Gator had a handy post that I hadn't seen here. And it says, Thidran's former best friend, John Kelly, who has been going at Rekieta and Vic supporters and passive-aggressively trying to get your attention for months, got outed by Spectre and Kiwi Farms for posting about touching his kid sister on a pedo forum. And let's, here we actually have the screenshot, because it always helps to have the receipts.
After he reads off the screenshot I previously covered, he continues.
That is allegedly the account of John Michael Kelly. Spectre has done a video on it here. I'm not going to watch the whole video. I have no idea what it says, but it's John Michael Kelly's Chickens Come Home to Roost. So if you guys want to check out Spectre Speaks video, you can see here what he has to say about it. I can put the link in maybe I should put the link in the description. Try and remember. I can do that real quick. Spectre's video on JMK. There you go. That is saved. All right. So if you guys want to check out Spectre's video, go do so after this show or during, however you roll is cool. But that's that. So, and here I was making fun of a fat whale all day, and that much more interesting thing was going on. So that's, so I don't know about that. I don't know about this. Now, Gator has since clarified that part of the way they know that that's JMK is that the username on the forum matches the username on his YouTube channel. They're the same, and they're not like, it's not a common username. It's not like Bill or something, right? And it's not John Michael Kelly or anything like that. It's a unique string. So you guys can check that out if you want and make up your own mind. Seems like John Kelly went really quiet a little while ago. I don't know exactly why. There's some theories about why, but they're just theories. So I don't know if he's spoken up since, but whew, interesting people we run into in these dark times.
This is Nick Rekieta, promoting a video by a nothing YouTuber who, at the time, had 110 subscribers, based off of nothing more than a screenshot and previously held animosity towards me personally, because I didn't buy into the sham kickstart for Vic Mignogne's lawsuit, designed to punish his harshest critics when he got called out for inappropriately touching women and young girls. Allegations which he declared false, unwarranted, and life-ruining. His source for the allegations against me? Spectre, someone he feigns ignorance in knowing despite the fact they have worked together in the past, as not only my previous material shows, but also in ban evasion.
Nick Rekieta's new account I set up. I set that up because I wasn't banned. And then I transferred ownership to him because the terms of service say you can't create the account if you're banned.
It is also curious he is suddenly wanting to take the time to address me when previously he tried dismissing me as some nobody, going as far as to listen and perhaps even hold some theories about my current affairs. I guess before he didn't have any good means of character assassination until his lackey provided some mud to sling. Nick predicted this would be a win. I predicted this would be a scam. And you can see who is right based on the current status of the lawsuit, currently having Vic Mignogna being ordered to pay out $370,000 to the very people he was trying to bleed money from, and desperately trying to win an appeal. However, there is important work for these people who have consistently failed the audience they are trying to help. And no, it's not to show my claims are wrong. It's not to actually get their first W in the Vic case. Instead, the I Stand With Vic sycophants are sending Mr. Medicare super chats to get more publicity on this.
From Matt Fields, have you heard about a certain enemy of Lawman Rekieta being an incestuous pedo? The internet never, ever, ever, ever forgets. Don't post in NAMBLA forums about your 11-year-old sister. Happy New Year, Jimothy. Who's the enemy that's I'm not up on my Rekieta lore. Is he doing battle with somebody at the moment? Oh, I got to look into this. See, Gators tweets about it. Somebody called John Kelly. Is that the person Rekieta's going against? I haven't. I have to look into it. Yeah, no, I'm not up on my Rekieta lore. I'm sorry.
The Gamer Gator, another I Stand With Vic supporter, and the longest-running co-host of the Ralph Retort, is desperately tweeting this fake evidence at Jim for him to bite, and Nick is linking to the video. A coordinated push to ruin someone's real-life reputation. The same people who yell at Kick Vic for allegedly being all in bed together, trying their darndest to spread clear fake information. They want to get rid of me. They need to get rid of me. I am the guy who is against their I Stand With Vic con job. Nick Rekieta, the same guy who was complaining about the same quote-unquote SJWs, taking the same actions he condemns. This is no longer one guy doing this. This is the head of the movement endorsing false allegations that have real-life effects. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? What happened to burden of proof? This is nothing more than removing a guy who is a problem for them. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they actually do believe this is true. I mean, we have demonstrated with the rational inference stuff from the TCPA hearing that they have a very low standard of evidence, because any claim can be a rational inference with just the right amount of imagination. So maybe this isn't them peddling what they believe is a false accusation. Maybe they actually are this dumb. Maybe this is why Nick Rekieta and Ty Beard, Vic Mignogna's lawyer, who Nick Rekieta told Vic to hire, fucked up the case so badly, because they don't understand how any of this works. I want to make something clear. I don't hate everyone in I Stand With Vic. I believe most of the people who aligned themselves with this movement did so believing their communities, of Congoers or of anime fans, were attacked using Vic Mignogna as the vector. Those who have remained active in it for months want to feel a part of a community. But what those in this community ignore is their common interest is hinged upon destroying anyone and everyone who has ever been perceived as having harmed Vic, and it is being steered by Nick Rekieta and the other talking heads leading the movement in that direction. For them, and many of the people they influence, it has ceased being about exonerating someone they believe, if they ever really believe that is, to be an innocent, and has instead become an obsession with a rush they experience from the prospect of hurting others. Or, to put it another way, I Stand With Vic has become the very thing they thought they were fighting against. A cancel culture.
And I'm going to say this just myself. You get exactly what you deserve. You get exactly what you deserve. You guys are playing with fire, and you're too stupid and fanatical to understand that. But I'll tell you right now, myself personally, somebody wrecked my ability to feed my family over some lies because they disagreed with my politics, or they just didn't like me, or they were jealous. I guarantee you, I'd probably not be able to resist the urge to put one right between your eyes, and I'd sleep like a baby the night I did it.